Olá a todos! Welcome back to the channel. I am so happy to be here again with you and to present you with a new topic for this week. I often see my students struggling to distinguish these three verbs, ver, vir, and ir. If this has happened to you, know you are not alone. In fact, it is a very common, tricky one for many students. At first, they seem totally different because translating the infinitive meaning is so different. Ver is to see, vir is to come, and ir is to go. So far, so good. But then you start hearing sentences like eu vi, eu vim, and when you try to think about the conjugation of ir, the last thing that comes to your mind is eu fui. Suddenly, everything starts sounding very similar, and this is where a lot of people panic. In this video, I want to show you how to distinguish these verbs, why some forms look alike, and most importantly, how to manage this without getting overwhelmed. Let's get started with today's topic. The first strategy I want to share with you is to anchor each verb to its core idea. Before we go into grammar, before we go into conjugations, you need a strong mental anchor. So we know that ver is related with perception, with vision, noticing. For example, ver filme, ver alguém, ver a verdade. Vir, it's directly related with movement. We talk about movement towards the speaker or to a reference point. For example, vir para casa, vir comigo. And ir, it's directly related with movement away from the speaker. For example, ir para o trabalho, or even ir embora. Then we look at the present tense. In the present tense, things are still manageable. Eu vejo, I see. Eu venho, I come. Eu vou, I go. Already here, notice something important. None of these follow the same pattern. This is your first signal that these verbs are high-frequency, irregular verbs. Now we look at the pasts. Pretérito perfeito. And I have to be honest with you, here is where things get tricky. This is where most learners panic. Let's look at the first conjugation. Eu vi, I saw. Eu vim, I came. Eu fui, I went. This is one of those cases where there are no shortcuts. But do not despair. I'm a big fan of creating associations when learning a language. So let's see. Here's my advice. First, we have the verb vir. Eu vi. Think about what you see as something immediate, fast, and often sharp. So, between vi and vi, we choose the shortest word, vi, because the eyes are one of our sharpest senses, sending information quickly to the brain. So we choose vi, the short word. Next, we have the verb vir. Eu vim, to come. Think about a journey. To come from a place to another takes time. So figuratively, you use the longer word because vir is also a longer journey. Here are some examples. Vi o João no supermercado. Vim cedo para casa do trabalho. For the future, I would say this. Perhaps the least tricky tense. Why? Because the verb is not really irregular, and that by itself makes a huge difference. It means we can follow a pattern. Like in the future, ver, eu verei, vir, eu virei, ir, eu irei. But the reason why I mention is it's because the trick here is not between vir and vir, but between vir, to come, and virar, to turn. Because in terms of pronunciation, again, we find two conjugations that sound very similar. Virei, I will come, and virarei, I will turn. The second little twist here is that, as you probably already know, Portuguese speakers sometimes speak fast. And the faster they speak, the closer these forms will sound. The more letters they eat, and the more it sounds all the same. Like virei vir, virarei virar, verei ver, irei ir. Virei, virarei, verei, irei. Something that might help if you are still trying to master these conjugations is to say the infinitive in your head before conjugating. The next question I bring, and this is probably the thing I get the most asked in my sessions, is why are ver and vir extra confusing? Well, even though vir, vir, and ir all derive from Latin roots, they are not the same root. This means that what vir and vir share in that their Latin origins is similar vowel changes over time. That's why we get pairs like vir, vi, vir, vi. But they do not come from the same word. They come from separate words. So again, it's very hard to try to make logic out of this, so take notice to all the tips I have shared so far, write in your notebook, and be patient with yourself. Now, here are some strategies that I believe can help you in this journey of mastering ver, vir, and ir. Learn them in contrast. Don't study vir, vir, and ir separately. Study them side by side. Keep writing them in your notes side by side until you feel confident enough to intuitively know that vi is for ver, vi is for vir, and fui is for ir. You can also practice by writing sentences side by side. For example, vi a Maria, vim com a Maria, fui com a Maria. Second, anchor them to prepositions. These verbs often come with specific prepositions. Don't start by translating them directly into your language, because as we talked about it in previous videos, this often just makes everything more confusing. Specifically in the topic of verbs with prepositions. But learn the verbs with their prepositions as unit blocks. For example, ir a, fui ao cinema, vim de, ou vim para, vim de casa, vim para aqui. Ver usually takes a direct object, meaning no preposition. For example, vi o film. O, it's the article of o film. If you hear a preposition, it will help you know which verb you are dealing with, even if you haven't fully understand the conjugation of the verb. So to close it up, take it slow. This is probably one of those situations that will take time, but one day, and I can assure you, it will click, and both in listening and pronunciation. It will become crystal clear. And this situation reminds me of when I was learning English and I struggled so much to distinguish the sound of H at the beginning of words, because as you know, we don't have it in Portuguese. So I found myself saying I was angry when I was hungry, and I really thought I was never going to be able to cross this bridge. But you know what? The advantage of these words is that they are so important in our day-to-day life that you will have to learn them, and you will. It will be frustrating at times, but one day it will just happen, and there will be no way back. It will become so intuitive for you. So take it slow, be patient, and trust that you will get there. And if this video helped, tell me in the comments below. And if you have any suggestion or question you would like to see in future videos, go ahead. I find the best topics are often questions that come from students. And also, if you like the way I teach, the way I present topics in the videos, go to my website. You find the description in the bio or in the description of this video. Subscribe to the newsletter. The newsletter is tailored to specifically share each month a different topic, culture and language related, and it adds even more into what we see in these videos. It's also for free, so go ahead and join the community. Thank you so much for being here, for watching the video until the end, and I hope to see you soon. Obrigada e até já!